Hello, today I'm going to show you how to repair a puncture in an inner tube on a bicycle. Hopefully you can see I've identified the point where a sharp object has passed through the tube, making it no longer airtight. So once you've found the location of the puncture, remove any sharp object that's still in there. Also check around the full way round the tube in case there may be two or three. So I'm going to do this one first. So firstly, what I'm going to do, I'm using a repair kit which has come with this kind of metal rasp. You can use sandpaper or wet and dry just to roughen the surface. So bear with me, just any direction, just to roughen the fibres of the rubber and also clean the surface. Bear with me because I need to use two hands here. Right, so just a few strokes in every direction just to roughen up the surface of the rubber and prepares it to accept the patch and the glue. Right, next step is to prepare the rubber surface and make sure it's fully degreased, ready to accept the patch and the glue. So what I'm using is a primitive solvent, lighter fluid. Just going to squirt a drop on there, and that will degrease the surface. Make sure it's clean of any grease, dirt, dust, anything. It doesn't damage the rubber, and then eventually that will evaporate off, leaving a clean surface. But if you notice now, I've lost my spot, so I have to go back and find it. Bear with me. Right, I've relocated the puncture spot. Now time for vulcanizing cement adhesive in a patch. Right, so I've just applied vulcanizing cement onto the tube, allowed to dry. It should start to feel sticky, which it is, which means it's ready for the patch and another layer of glue. Now that the vulcanizing cement has dried and prepared the surface, it's now time to apply the patch. And here's one I have ready. So that's going on there. Bear with me. Right, patch is on location. Gently offer it in place in the centre, and then be very hard with it and forcefully move the orange red coloured surrounds and expand it and pull it hard all the way around. That eliminates all the air from under the patch, makes it hopefully an airtight connection, and because it's a vulcanized rubber cement, it's actually flexible, because obviously when the tube is inflated, that patch must expand with the tube as it gets bigger. Obviously I forgot to mention, on this type of patch you must remove the foil backing first and apply it like a plaster, like you would do to your body, and then when it's firmly in place, give it a few minutes and then remove the cellophane outer edge, because that also cannot be sticky before it goes back into the tyre. Right, top clear layer of film removed, and then I've forcefully manipulated the outer area hard and vigorously in all directions, so it should bond to the tube and the patch in the centre covers the hole, and hopefully in a few minutes it's 100% airtight. The only way to find that out is pump it up, see if it goes down, or pump it up and dunk it in the sink full of water and do what I call a dunk test or leak test. If any streams of bubbles appear around that patch, it means we have failed the repair and we would have to readdress it and do it again. Right, patch is ready. Just clean it off a bit and then dunk it in a sink full of water, make sure no bubbles come out. Or also look for second puncture. So now what I'm going to do is half inflate it to maybe 30 psi and see if the patch holds. If it pops off, then I haven't done it properly, but bear with me, this is awkward with one hand. Oh, that should be enough. Right, hopefully you can see the patch is holding under part pressure. It hasn't popped off in any corners. I know this corner looks a bit untidy, but it's bonded okay. And it's perfectly fine all the way around. And the puncture hole is inside the black centre. So next thing to do is dunk test in a sink of water. Sadly, on this occasion we have not repaired the puncture. There seems to be two insertions. One is covered with that patch and there's one just slightly below it. So I'm going to have to repeat the same procedure and put exactly the same patch next to that underneath. So whatever went in, I seem to think it was a sharp thorn, may have punctured the tube in two separate places. So let me go back and repeat that same process. Right, I've repeated the previous steps. Patch 2 is on straight underneath patch 1. So sadly this thorn penetrated the tube in two places. Right, second patch is applied. It has passed dunk test. I'll show you how to do a dunk test. Right, second patch applied. She needs to pass dunk test. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Sadly, I've had to use 3 patches because patch number 2 didn't bond properly. So I've now had to put a 3rd patch on to cover the gap where it didn't bond properly. So now 3 patches. Anyway, just keep going till the repair is done. So hopefully a good repair. Sadly we had to use 3 patches, not 2. Next step is dunk test underwater in the sink, make sure it's airtight. And then secondly, we cannot allow this adhesive to bond to the underside of the tyre when it goes back in the wheel. So it needs cleaning off of all residue adhesive, and my trick is use baby powder to remove all the moisture on the rubber tube before it goes back in the tyre. Right, next step, dunk test. Right, I've just semi-inflated the tube again with all 3 patches hopefully bonding 100%. Now it's time for a dunk test underwater. If any stream of bubbles come out, we know it's failed again. So, a full sink of clean water. We're going to dunk it and rotate it in small sections. If you start at the valve and work all the way around till you come back to the valve, that means you've gone all the way around and checked it. Right, I can't do this by one hand, so bear with me while I do it and I'll let you know. Right, all the way around from valve back round to the valve. No bubbles, no leaks, no nothing. That repair is good. I know it looks a bit unsightly, but she's good to go. So now next step is dry it off with a towel, let it air dry for a bit, and I'm going to use a handful of talcum powder just to rub it round the entire tube and make sure all moisture is eliminated, because we do not want this tube to stick to the inside of the tyre or either tyre wall when it's back in the tyre on the wheel. Okay. Right, tube is hand dry by towel. Now I'm going to put some baby powder on it, make sure it's completely dry on the patch and all the way around. And then just rub it in by hand. Wait, please wait. Right, tube is 100% dry, dried by towel, and then also had a good lathering of baby powder to reduce any moisture, and there's no adhesive residue on the patch areas either. That tube is good to go back in the tyre and back on the wheel. Thanks for watching, hope this helps. Bye for now.